members of the National Assembly here present, Your Excellency the Governor of Niger State, and other excellencies here present, the Chairman, Board of Trustees, and Chancellor of the Baze University, His Excellency the former Vice President, Architect Mohammed Namani Sambo, GCON. Your Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Begore, the founder and Pro-Chancellor, Baze University, Senator Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, PhD, members of the Board of Trustees of the University, the Vice Chancellor, and other senior management staff, my lords temporal and spiritual, the United States Ambassador to Nigeria, and other members of the diplomatic corps here present, honorary graduates, General Nasco, Mrs. Okochme, graduates and their parents, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to represent the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, who is the special guest of honor at this important 7th and 8th convocation ceremony of Baze University, the 10th year anniversary and commissioning of the 200-bed ultra-modern teaching hospital with state-of-the-art facilities. I am aware the two honorable ministers were billed to be here this afternoon. One to represent Mr. President at the convocation, and the Minister of Health to commission this magnificent teaching hospital. As it sometimes happens, both have been unavoidably away. The President therefore ensured the government's presence to fulfill his commitment to attend the ceremony and do the commissioning remains fulfilled, and that is why I am here. The President congratulates Baze University. He is aware of the tremendous rapid progress made by the university over the years since granting of approval of license and takeoff in 2011. It is commendable. It is a commendable example of the expected contributions of the private sector to the development of education in Nigeria. Within the university system today, Nigeria boasts of over 170 universities. In view of these positive achievements by the privately owned universities and other tertiary institutions, this government will continue to open up the sector. My presence here today to commission the hospital is a further emphasis on the government's commitment to a robust health sector by partnering with the private sector who have put in their money, energy, and other resources. I believe we all now realize as a country that government alone cannot provide all the needed services for its citizenry. Government will, however, continue to ensure it provides the appropriate environment and support. I want to commend Baze University for this gigantic project. Undoubtedly, it will add to the existing services to provide modern healthcare facilities in the country, especially Abuja, in addition to giving medical students quality training. I wish to congratulate the proprietor of the university, Dr. Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, for this excellent vision and commitment to these key sectors of education and health. I also congratulate and commend the Chairman of Board of Trustees, His Excellency Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo, GCON, for providing his wealth of experience and leadership in this regard. Finally, may I commend the university team and congratulate the parents and graduates for their achievements. For the students, you now have the tool to contribute your quota to the progress and development of your country. This government has focused on the needs of the youth and provided facilities and interventions in the most unprecedented manner, which the youth can access for their own growth as part of the answer to youth unemployment. Ensure you acquaint yourself with them and those you can access with ease. Let me conclude on this note. You graduates have been found worthy in character and in learning. Please, I appeal to you to exhibit same in the wider Nigerian society. Once again, I thank all of you. I thank my colleagues, the ministers who are here. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is and commission this magnificent complex. God bless you all once again.
At the 7th and 8th combined convocation ceremony of the Baze University here in Abuja. The last 10 years have witnessed a tremendous growth in the history of this citadel of Nelly. In the next decade, in what the university called second decade of Baze, it scars beyond maintaining lead that is a rank and defined us in the continent. The university aspires to grow in numbers, develop its second campus at Buhari, possibly with a school of aviation in the next 10 years. That certainly will take the university to the peak of one of the best in Africa. It is on this note we want to once again congratulate the parents and graduates and to also thank you for finding time to be part of this outside podcast of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Kelvin Ewunoye.
Medical care, best medical education available around. Baze University Hospital is the biggest private hospital by built area in Africa.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
this vaccine is safe and it has been certified safe and usable by NAFTA.
Fellow compatriots, if no single tribe or religion has defeated poverty, then no single tribe or religion can develop Nigeria. The success story of every state and capital is the contribution of every tribe and religion. Our Nigeria no be wazobia, no majorities or minorities. Every tribe and every religion still dey hustle for naira wey no get tribe or religion. So, my country people, let's join this movement that says naira no get tribe and use the naira to develop our naira land. Citizens first. Citizens before state of origin. Citizens before your religion. Citizens before your ethnic belonging. For participation, call 0902 739 5555.
I never get this kind of thing, or I hear it.
There was this broadcast on Villa Updates, which I'm part of, and I got the information there that we should apply for survival fund.
I thought it was a scam, but truly it wasn't a scam.
To my great surprise, we actually got a lot of 30,000. I have 5 staff, including the making 6. We got a lot of 30,000. Like 3 weeks later, this is the first time I'm getting anything from this government. Even from past governments, I have never gotten anything from them.
It was a great relief for us because during the COVID-19, things were so tough.
I really thank the government for this great gesture because it has helped a lot.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Welcome to Abuja, the place that unites Nigeria.
The fashion industry, which is today a multi-trillion-dollar business in the world, is understood as part of a cultural and social history. Nigeria has won, and it has evolved with time, projecting a particular trend at a time, which usually is widely accepted at a time, but only to be rejected after a while. This is called in or out of vogue. While the British packed their bags to leave after our independence, most of the common things we shared with them remained. The language, religion, culture, and very interestingly, fashion. Designers of this era targeted the expensive clothes to suit the urban lifestyle. One of such hits for the ladies was the miniskirts and gowns. It was a fashion sensation of a time, designed from really bright colors. For the men, fashion saw an uncommon change. Colors were introduced into the men's fashion. Slim-fitted trousers and print shirts were the order of the day. Lapels took wild dimension, so also did their trousers. The shoes at the time were platform and of course the stiletto 3 inches heels for the ladies. Mrs. Shade Thomas Fan was the first woman to own a boutique in Nigeria in the 60s, having just returned from overseas studies. She had a hard time trying to convince Nigerians to wear anything other than European fabric. Most people picked their clothes from catalogs abroad. Mrs. Fan, however, embarked on building an identity for Nigerians by inventing and creating many innovative styles using traditional African fabrics. Her effort kick-started what today is known as the Nigerian fashion industry.
She told me I was such a loser, and that's why she was gonna break up with me. Everybody, can you imagine that? I feel my touch, don't pay for she won't imagine that. She has to go.
By the 1970s, the African fabric were gradually being accepted. Notable fabric then were the ashoke, aquete, velvet, and the adire tie and dye. These were used to create lovely fashion styles of a time. The trending style, especially for Southwest ladies, were the Iro and Buba. These later evolved to our today's Oleku. It was mostly worn by married women or older ladies, while the young girls remained with the gown, though this time it had come down a bit to below the knee. In the South, however, women there wore mostly maxi gowns, while Southeast women tied 2 steps wrapper, usually called the Hollandese, for ceremonies. The men of the 70s really made their fashion statement with their bongo trouser, block heel shoes, and afro hair. The Festac style was popularized during the Obasanjo's Festac 77. The style represented freedom of the butterfly. In all the while, the men, especially the Yoruba and the Hausa, had their flowing gown known as the Babariga in Hausa and Agbada in Yoruba. In the 80s, the designers created a platform of such flowing gown for the female, and it was popularly called the bubu. This fashion cut across lots of West African countries, including Senegal and Mali. Each signed its signature or identity on the embroidery pattern and the thread. This fashion hung on for a long time in the 90s, probably because of its ease and comfort. It was usually designed with the Ankara or Adire, but later the lace came in. The craze for high heels and stiletto shoes and sandals was dropped for flatter shoes and slippers, especially for the men. Of note was the type of suit or coat used by the suit lovers. They were usually big, double-breasted, with large shoulder pads. Even the ladies used the shoulder pad for their simple blouses and shirts. Fashion of the 80s saw bold makeup and to a large extent excessive jewelries. The canvas shoes, acid wash jeans, denim jackets were trending. Some still retained the voluminous glossy hair, mostly hot-peaked. The 1990s fashion was crazy but definitely not indecent. With the rhythm and lyrics of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the youths were trending with styles such as the crop top, the plaid, the overalls, and the three-piece suits, sometimes with tuxedos. For the school children, you did not want to miss your Cortina shoes from Bata. It was fun. By the late 90s, the lace fabric and jacquard were fully trending, especially for ceremonies. The Ankara up and down gradually began to creep in, though the style was still simple. For the men, the suit buttons moved to simple-breasted but remained slightly large. The trousers were noticeably still large. The simple A-line skirt and gown were the looks of the working ladies. It has been said that fashion revolutionized in the 21st century. Indeed, it was and still is. But are they really different from what the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even the 90s offered? For one, the Ankara has really been accepted and tweaked into funky looks. With the help of Nigerian positively crazy designers, the Ankara fabric and styles are paraded world over with pride. Again, take a closer look at their styles. You will clearly spot the old styles of our fathers and mothers. For instance, the flowing full skirts and gown of the 70s are back with a little addition here and there. The Iro and Buba is definitely back, but as Oluku. The Bubu of the 80s and the 70s redefined as the kaftan, with little additions of sleeves and more daring embroidering or fabric patches for the ladies. The thick afro hair or kinky hair for the ladies is rocking their world again. The babariga is back as well, but now cut shorter for ease. Interestingly, it is worn today by both men and women. What goes up must come down, they say, and we've had that definitely epitomized in our fashion trends. So, don't be quick to dump your old styles. Give it a while and watch it come back with a bang. Fashion keeps evolving.
Nigeria is blessed with arable land and lush vegetation. Every season, the agricultural sector harvests various food crops and cash crops. Alongside these, we are blessed with medicinal plants, which are essential in tackling our health issues. The list of these plants are endless, with huge potentials.
They are readily around us. They are available. These are things that we should be able to plant within our surroundings for immediate use, which is healthier.
We have huge potentials in Nigeria with respect to herbal medicine. Huge, I can tell you.
An inventory on what is available in the various geopolitical zones is amazing.
We have over 8,000 species of medicinal plants in Nigeria, and yet we have not tapped up to 25%. So that means for those of us who believe and often talk to medicinal plants, they come and they go. They are not happy. Why? Because of underutilization. The Northwest, we identified Moringa. Moringa oleifera, commonly known as everybody, I'm sure 80% of Nigerians will know that Moringa oleifera zogale is a vegetable that is eaten in the northern part of this country. It's used in making soup, it's used in making salad. Then for the Northeast, we discovered that the plant called Hibiscus subderifa. You know what is, I'm sure everybody knows zobo. Zobo is very common in Northeast. They use it in making soups, they use it in making drinks, and there are two, there is white variety, there is red variety. The red variety is the one you take zobo, you get the flour, the zobo. Then the white variety, they use it in making a kind of soup. Then for North Central, we looked at, if you see how it is massively grown, ginger, particularly in Kaduna. Ginger is a plant that has many medicinal value, all over the world, well documented. Friendly, home friendly, mothers, everybody can have it. In your gardens, you can have it. This is something readily available. We go to the southern region. Southwest, we give them a plant which they don't even know and appreciate. Ephiri, Basil gratusinum, or Basil ocimum. That is what they call Ephiri in Yoruba. They call it Nchau in Igbo. In Hausa, we call it Odoya. For the south-south, we gave them what we called Vennonia amagladina, bitter leaf. Every home has bitter leaf. But we are looking at beyond, for goodness sake, I've always said it when I'm being activated. You take bitter leaf as soup. Have you ever thought of what else can you use bitter leaf for? This is what we want to do, value addition. So we gave the South bitter leaf. Then the Southeast, Ugu, Telferia occidentalis. There is no home, I don't think of any home that doesn't know Ugu. But we want to look at beyond knowing it at soup. Our grandparents made it, our mothers made it to soup. You as educated, what have you done to Ugu? Excellent in the management of anemia, excellent in giving sickle cell patients, excellent in pregnant and lactating mothers, for goodness sake. So why don't we put it in a form to make it better?
Globally, there is a reawakening of the potentials of herbal preparations in the healthcare system and even as a source of income and foreign exchange earnings. Indeed, countries like India and China are big players as they have, through research, manufactured herbal products for export, which are being used worldwide to complement orthodox medicine. Why then is Nigeria lagging behind?
Our best bet is to encourage ourselves for this product of ours. This is how India, this is how China all developed. You don't find a doctor from China or from India talking openly to say that their herbal products, these are not working. So we should learn to be patriotic so that whatever comes out of our country here, subject it to the highest level of ethical, clinical, whatever, before you condemn it. For instance, we are using all the procedures that are required up to WHO. Toxicity, stability, we are doing it. And these are the requirements legalistically that all herbal products must subject themselves to. This we have done. And we have passed a NAFDAC test for those ones that they have approved. So where are the issues? The fear, for us to end it, the fear about herbal medicine has to do with dosing, standardization.
Aside from the health benefits Nigerians can derive from the cultivation and the processing of medicinal plants, there are also many economic benefits.
1, health benefits. 2, of course, nutritional benefits. 3, economic benefits. And cultivation is easy, readily available. All we need to do is to now tell the farmers to grow more. And you know what it means. If you tell farmers to grow more, that means revenue, wealth, and economic and health benefits.
What are the efforts being made so far to improve upon what we have and conform to the best practices in manufacturing pharmaceutical products for the benefit of mankind?
The Minister of Health is working very hard. The last Herbal Day, the minister made a pronouncement that plans are on to integrate herbal medicine. The preparatory ground has been done by a herbal medicine policy, which has been developed at the level of Federal Minister of Health.
Adding value to what we have, thereby making farmers smile home with more cultivation.
As it is now, NAFDAC can only guarantee safety, but not efficacy. There's a borderline between safety and efficacy. Safety of medicine suggests that NAFDAC, once a herbal product has the seal of authority of NAFDAC, it is listed by NAFDAC, it suggests that you can use it. It is safe for you. It will not harm you. But we cannot guarantee the efficacy. In other words, doing exactly what, in terms of its curative potency.
It is therefore essential for us to look inwards and improve upon what we have so that we can tap from our immense God-given resources.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link. And be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news. economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
Aquaculture as a world emergent industry and one of the fastest growing food production subsector in the world. And due to the apparently declining global fish catch, aquaculture is crucial for food security and nutrition for a rapidly growing global population in the nearest future. Approximately 200 million people around the world are involved in fishing and aquaculture, one way or the other, with efforts to provide around 100 million tons of fish every year. This will mean an average consumption of 16 kilos per person, but in many places where fish is the principal source of animal protein, average consumption is far higher. Much of the bountiful harvest is produced not just by large industrial operators, but by local small and medium-scale producers. And do you know that half the fish supplied to world markets come from developing countries? In Africa, Latin America, and Asia, Africa is blessed with abundant resources, human and natural, that are only now being properly tapped and harnessed. The success story of aquaculture abound in Nigeria, Ghana, and Malawi. And we bring the focus of the world onto glaring cases in Nigeria, which is the Ijebu-Iriwe Fish Farm village in Ijebu-Ode, which rears the African catfish.
There is no end to knowledge, and the industry too, there is still room for them to learn more. So mountain training and training and retraining is also a key to enhance productivity.
Iriwe Farms has gained international recognition from bodies like FAO of the United Nations, DFID, JICA, UNDP.
On our own part is to source for more fund for them, because really speaking, there is no way you can really grow well in this kind of business without adequacy of resources. Without borrowing, without getting some loans, there is a limit on the growth. With 4,937 pounds, if they have 2 billion, access to 2 billion naira, that may not be even enough as working capital in a year.
We're one of the founders of who started aquaculture in Ghana, Crystal Lake, in collaboration with Water Research Institute. We had to do a trial to assess whether the local species could grow competitively in Ghana. And so this was partly funded by Danida. So we did that, and we established that the local species could grow competitively in Ghana. This is, of course, and taking into consideration how much tilapia is being sold in Ghana. So it proved that aquaculture could be viable in Ghana.
What we are giving out today, because previously, like I told you, you harvest your fish at the end of 6 months, and you may ask yourself, are they being hatched in the cage? But now, farmers who are the customers tells you, look, Mr. Limo, your products are good, your fingerlings are very good. Where is the source? And we tell them the source. And I'm happy because it's a win-win situation. You grow, I grow. So whenever I get the feedback from the customers, it makes me happy. And also, we try to do extension services. All our customers that we supply, we make sure every month we go and check their body weight, help them to calculate the biomass, and advise them on what feed change, what you have to do, what you don't have to do. And I think it's helping the industry a lot.
I started, hatching and selling fingerlings. I started with 3,000. But right now, I am selling 4 million of fingerlings and 2,000 fry. I went to Nigeria last year. I learned, wow, that was a shock to me because when I saw the extent and the progress that our fellow Nigerians are doing, when I came back, I said, that is a revolution. The catfish industry in Nigeria is a revolution that is required here in Malawi.
As the global demand increases and more opportunities are created, better and improved nutrition for children with dietary requirements met by the consumption of fish, new job opportunities like feed processing, fish fingerlings, construction of net, and other fish farming related activities to drastically and effectively reduce poverty and also feed growing population.
Of all our enterprise development programs, of all of them, aquaculture is number one that has helped so many people out of poverty. Because nobody wants to die inside poverty. Able to tell them, look, there is a way out of this poverty, and they are ready to. And when you get to the side, you now see people who are nowhere before, and today they own houses, they own cars, they have their children in good schools, they can eat well, and all that.
My name is Sunday Oyo. The business is okay because for what we are doing, I have a wife and 4 kids, and I'm living well with my kid with the business because what we are making per week is okay for me and my family.
The success recorded in the recent past years, which is already attracting investors, more national and international investors are invited to come and invest and partake of the riches of investing in aquaculture.
NTA Parliament is a dedicated 24-hour channel that broadcasts the activities of the Nigerian Senate, Federal House of Representatives, and all the 36 state houses of assembly. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Gone are the days when formal education was the only emphasis for young people in Nigeria. The new trend is skill acquisition, in addition to any course of study in school. Many young people, including bakers who have vocational skills, are not just doing great, but are employers of labor. You're watching Baker's World on NTA. I am Funke Oyele. Many thanks for watching. This episode offers an opportunity to explore bread and pizza recipe. If you have any interest in starting a baking business, this is a must-watch for you. Our guest is a professional baker who has been able to translate our hobby into a baking career. You'll get to know more about her in our conversation segment. All these and more for you on the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Bread is a snack to some, while a great number of people love it as a staple food. Today on this segment, our guest baker, Olusolakpe, and our assistant will be showing us how to make pizza, sardine bread, and burger buns. I'm sure you won't want to miss this. If you're ready, let's hand over to our baker now.
Before we start baking today, we're going to wash our hands because we're using our hands for a lot of things that we'll be doing. For our sardine rolls and our burger bun, we have a 7-ingredient recipe. My second ingredient. I stir 50 grams of sugar, a tablespoon of yeast, a tablespoon of salt to my flour. While I pour my flour, salt into the liquid mixture, my assistant will measure out for me 90 grams of margarine. At this point, my mixture is getting thick. I'm going to add my margarine to help soften the thick mixture while I use my hand to complete the mixing. And then I can add my remaining flour gradually. At this point, I will transfer my mixture to my mixer to mix using my dough hook to complete the kneading process. My dough is ready, so I'm just going to cover it and keep in a warm place for it to proof before we move to the next stage. The pizza dough is what we are looking at next. I would start by measuring my water into my bowl. I add 3 tablespoons of oil. Let's measure 375 grams of flour, 1 tablespoon of sugar, then my yeast. Lastly, we're going to add our salt. It's time to add my flour and salt into my water. I'm going to use my dough hook to knead. Our pizza dough is not as stiff as a lot of other bread doughs. So we're going to add a little oil to our pan before we transfer our dough. I set my dough aside for proofing. Now our dough is ready and proofed. As you can see, I'm going to knock it down to knock out the air. I bring it out onto my work table. A little flour here so that it will not stick to my table. We're going to be making burger buns from this, as well as sardine rolls. Our burger buns works with precision in the weight. So I'm going to use my scale to measure 100 grams each. Each burger bun will be 100 grams. I have 4 100 grams each here. I'm going to roll it into a ball shape. When molding your dough for any bread, you have to ensure that your dough is tight so that the under of your burger bun will be smooth. You roll it, rub it on your surface. Roll it, rub it on your surface so that the under will be smooth. When baking your burger bun, please bear in mind you need a spacious pan. Your burger buns need space so that they can come out individually. I'm going to also flour my pan lightly. Flouring my pan. This pan can take about 6 or 8 burger buns. I'm going to spread out this 4 that I have here from this particular mix. You can see that the buns are well spaced so that they can bake evenly and individually. This I set aside to prove again before baking. The proving this time around would be a mild one, not as long as the first time. I told you that the sardine roll would not require precision like your burger buns. So I'm just going to shear my dough into 6. So you can see I've sheared my dough into 6, not necessarily measuring them. At this point, my assistant will bring the sardine while I flatten the dough. He's going to drop a little sardine in each. We're adding sardine to the center of our dough. Now, I'm going to fold them over. Please bring the pan. I'm rolling my dough into balls before I start to arrange into my pan. When rolling into ball, make sure your sardine is not exposed and make a neat ball. If your sardine shoots out at any point, you will not get a round shape when your bread is baked. You can see my neat balls. If you weren't told, you wouldn't know that they contain sardine. I would arrange my rolls into my 8-inch pan. So my assistant will set it aside to proof for about 20 minutes. Our pizza dough has also doubled in size. It is proved. We're going to prepare the toppings before we put the dough in our pan. So that's our cheese. He's grating it using the small size of the grater. Our pizza topping will be our beef and our sausage meat. So I'm going to cut it into bits. Remember, you can garnish your pizza with whatever you will. Next, I prepare my sauce. The choice of sauce for your pizza is also at your discretion. It could be Italian dressing, oyster dressing. Today, however, I'm going to be combining 1 or 2. Here with me, I have my barbecue sauce. I'm going to add in my tomato ketchup. Then I'm adding my sweet, spicy sauce. Thereafter, I mix the 3 together. Next, we're going to be cutting our vegetables. We're going to be cutting our onions. We have our bell pepper, which I will cut myself. You can see that our dough has proved further. We are ready to put it in our pan. Please bring the 2 pans. Before we put our dough in our pan, we are going to oil the pan generously with our oil, not margarine this time around. can see that my dough is soft but not sticky to my pan because my pan was well oiled. You can see I'm sprinkling a little flour to firm up my dough. I'm taking the measurement because I'm going to share into two. You can see my dough is very soft. All I need to do is to spread my dough so that it covers the surface of my pan. We start with our sauce for the toppings. Be generous with your sauce. That is what gives your pizza the unique taste. Thereafter, we add our cheese. Remember, we grated it. We add our vegetable, the onions, and the bell pepper. We add our sausage or chicken franks, as it is called. Next will be our shredded beef, our minced beef. And we garnish further with our sauce. That is what gives your pizza the unique taste. Lastly, we add our cheese. Our pizza is ready to go into the oven.
While our dough is in the oven, we'll take a quick break here, and when we're back, we'll be having a chat with our guest baker. Please don't go anywhere.
When I realized that I had a passion that wouldn't go away for baking, and when I realized also that people appreciated the work, the cakes I made for them, and were willing to part with some money for it.
Our guest today is a creative and pleasant baker. Oluwashilakpe Bamijoko is a microbiology graduate, born in Lagos State on the 16th of January 1972. She obtained her first degree from the University of Ibadan in 1994 and proceeded to the University of Lagos, where she backed her master's degree in humanitarian and refugee studies in 2002. This amiable baker's interest in the culinary world stemmed from watching a family menu program on the Nigerian Television Authority as a young girl in the 80s. She is a wife and mother of 3 children. Her brand, Creative Fingers, has produced cake and confectionaries for events and milestone celebrations. Join us as we welcome our guest baker, Oluwashilakpe Bamijoko.
You're welcome back. You're still watching Baker's World on NTA. Today I have with me our guest baker. She's a woman who turned her hobby into a baking business. She's a woman who is used to making hot cake, and now today she's become a hot cake in the baking business herself. You're welcome to the program, madam.
Thank you.
The first thing I want to ask you, you were always baking. It was a hobby. You were doing it for people. How were you able to turn it into a career today?
As you know, I bake for people's occasion, their birthdays, their weddings. You know, I realized that people liked my creativity. When I eventually turned it into a profession, I needed to follow up with 1 or 2 trainings in cake making and decoration. I also needed to put some structure into place.
There were reports during the lockdown that, a lot of people were ordering for bread because they had to stay at home. Now, what I want to ask is, given the situation and the caution for health and safety during that period, how were people still able to say, oh yes, I'm going to trust the source of bread and order bread and still eat it during this period?
Yes, during the lockdown, especially the initial stage, there was a high demand for bread. I would say instead that people now are more confident in the bakery business. People are more confident in bakers because they know that There are regulatory bodies like NAFDAC that regulate the operation of bakeries to ensure that the bread coming out of bakeries is fit for consumption.
I'm glad you mentioned the regulatory body. Now, as a consumer of bread myself, if I pick up a bread from the shelf, what are those simple things that I can check on the label to ensure that what I'm buying is of standard and it's okay for me to consume?
You should be able to look at the bread. Number one, is it well packaged? Two, you check for the ingredients that were used to make the bread. Information to also look out for is NAFDAC number, which is the approval of authorities concerned. You should also look out, for any other special additive to the bread in case of allergy.
Okay, you've been in this baking business for a while now. I know there must have been a lot of ups and there must have been a lot of down. Can you share with us one of your first rookie mistake that you made?
First rookie mistake that I wouldn't forget in a hurry was using deep color in the height of rainy season. The client requested for a cake to be decorated with navy blue, and by the time I finished this cake and decorated it, I went to the bakery about 2-3 p.m. to go and deliver, and then lo and behold, my cake was melting.
What happened?
It was sweating. What happened was that in the thick of rainy season, you have to be watchful when you use dark colors, because dark colors take a longer time to dry out than ordinary lighter colors.
Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure having this conversation with you.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
That was our chat with the CEO of Creative Fingers, Mrs. Olusolakwe Bamijoku. Our pizza and bread should be ready now. But before we get back to the kitchen, we have baker's gist for you.
What is personal excellence? Personal excellence is simply put the aspiration to be the best that you can be in everything and at everything that you do, whether in your business, whether in your career, whether in your academic pursuits. In my own pursuit of personal excellence, there are 5 areas that I want to suggest that one can focus on. Number one is that you need to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will do. Well, personally, I want to tell you that I've been able to achieve a couple of things that probably nobody have felt. I mean, looking at me from the exterior, somebody have felt I can't do it. Well, I probably say I ran the marathon, and I was able to do that successfully. So you have to believe in yourself. That's number one. Number two, you have to keep honing your skills. The achievements of yesterday, or rather, whatever ability you used to achieve your results for yesterday, are not sufficient for today. One of my mentors calls that creative destruction. Right? Anything you did that was good enough for yesterday will tell you that was only good enough for yesterday. Leave that as it is. Move on to the next thing. That is, you have to keep improving on your abilities you have to go from fundamentals to intermediate, and from intermediate to advanced.
Before me are the filling for our burger bun. Burger bun has baked and cooled. Our sardine bread also baked and cooled. Our sardine bread is good to go as it is, ready to eat, but the burger bun, we need to dress it to make it into hamburgers. This is my mayonnaise. I'm going to add my ketchup into my mayonnaise. And then I'll be adding a little of my soy sauce. I will add my spices to my sauce. A pinch or 2 will do. You don't want to overspice your hamburger. I would slice my bread in the middle. My assistant will be unwrapping the cheese while I cut tomatoes. followed by my tomatoes. I will add my onions and my beef. Lastly, we'll cover with our cheese and lettuce. Sardine roll is ready. Burger bun turned into hamburger is ready. And our pizza is also ready, just in time.
This looks so amazing. Well done. You know, there's so much to taste from today, and I'm going to give you a comment about each and every one. But let's start with the pizza. The pizza, spicy and very juicy. Very tasty. I love it. And of course the burger buns. Oh, that is also very delicious. I wish you could have a taste of it. You know, it's been said, if baking is any labor at all, it is a labor of love. And it's a love that's been passed from generation to generation. You too can bake a delicious bread recipe like this at home, or you can even turn it into a baking business. I hope you've learned a couple of things from our baker and our assistant. So we come your way next week with a more exciting episode of Baker's World. You can reach us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. It's Baker's World on NTA. We hope to see your comments and feedbacks. See you next week. I am Funke Oyele. Bye for now.
Disaster occurs on frequent basis. Some we hear of, others we do not. Terrorism, flood, fire, earthquake,
car or plane crashes, building collapse, and even armed robbery, each bringing assets and revenue loss, human mortality, and in 90% of survivors, great loss of hope. Flooding is the most common of all environment hazards, and it regularly claims over 20,000 lives per year and adversely affects about 75 million people worldwide. Nigeria has had its fair share. Emergencies, as the name implies, are not set out to happen, but they can be planned or budgeted for. Disaster management may not avert emergency threats, but it will decrease the impact of disaster where well handled. It then brings to the fore the key phases to management of disaster: mitigation, response, recovery, preparedness, and prevention. Every citizen must be well acquainted with all of them. Wishing disaster away does not avert it. Rather, as put in the local parlance, a man of valor is only identified at a time of emergency. Let us always be prepared.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to...
Welcome to the news update on NTA International. These are some of the stories trending on the hour. I am Anne Jibuno. The Nigerian Air Force air component under Operation Hardin Kai has destroyed several terrorist elements and their boats in continued military onslaught against terrorists and insurgents hiding on islands and localities around the Lake Chad. A statement by the NAF says this was achieved following credible intelligence that about 20 boats with suspected Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists were converging for a meeting on an island around Lake Chad and at Malam Fatori. 3 NAF aircraft under Operation Hardin Kai were scrambled to carry out strikes on the targets, consisting about 20 boats with 5 to 7 suspected terrorists in each boat. And following President Buhari's assent to the bill establishing the National Blood Service Commission, Nigerians can now access safe blood in all parts of the country. Sponsor of the bill and member House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, while briefing the press, described the act as an important milestone in the health sector. Speaking alongside Director General of the Commission, Dr. Omale Joseph, the lawmaker says maternal mortality due to blood loss will also be reduced. And the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 176 new cases of COVID-19 as at the 22nd of October 2021. A breakdown indicates that the cases were recorded in 11 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The 176 new cases bring the total number of confirmed cases to 210,136. 198,117 discharged and 2,855 deaths so far recorded. In view of contemporary challenges in the environment sector, especially climate change and its attendant consequences, stakeholders in the sector want governments at all levels to implement policies developed to achieve net zero carbon emission by 2050. Taking concrete climate actions is at the core of deliberations at the 15th National Council on Environment, which is a veritable platform for stakeholders to critically consider and approve policy direction and focus for the sector. The theme, appraisal of the emerging challenges and opportunity in the environment sector, a call for action towards the environment of our dream, puts the issues of the environment on the front burner, preparatory to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change Conference of the Parties, COP26. And the Food and Agriculture Organization will be providing $350,000 technical cooperation program funds for the assistance in the promotion of drip irrigation systems at selected irrigation schemes in Nigeria. This move, which is to strengthen the sustainable and inclusive food and agriculture system in the country, is part of an agreement signed between the FAO and the Federal Ministry of Water Resources for the project TCP to support Nigeria's economic diversification program and agenda, as well as promote decent employment for youth and women in agricultural value chain. Well, those are some of the stories trending at this hour. We thank you very much for staying with us.
This is the network service of the NTA.
My plan for the future is that to become a innovative engineer that can think and produce something that will give the solution to the, especially in terms of energy power generation in Nigeria, like free energy.
There's considerable amount of innovation going on among our teeming populace, teeming youth, and government is actually doing very well in trying to create, awareness and build skills, leading to bringing in of new ways of doing things.
We are not saying people should reinvent wheel, but you can leverage on the existing knowledge on what other people have done. You look at a technology developed by somebody. If that technology is up to 20 years old in the system, you are free to copy it from A to Z. Where it is less than 20 years, you have to study it carefully to see what other knowledge would you add on that.
The elite must believe that the solutions to all our problems, be it security, be it health, be it farming, banditry, whatever it is in science, technology, and innovation.
The young innovator comes up with good idea. Once his product is accepted, he'll be encouraged to do more. When we support him financially, he will do more. The next thing is to patronize his product. When you patronize his product, he will build more.
Innovation is the introduction of something new, of an idea that has been transformed into practical reality. Innovation also means the practical implementation of ideas that result in the introduction of new goods or services, or improvement in offering goods or services. While the internet offers various definitions of innovation, a common element is the focus on newness, improvement, and spread of ideas or technologies.
Any nation that needs to move must embrace innovation. If we want to prosper, we want to develop, we must embrace, innovation. It could be a new idea. It could be a new, better way of doing, old things. And now that the world is a global village, courtesy of the ICT, we can use computer in advancing, innovation, new ideas, and things like that.
In recognition of the importance of science, technology, and innovation to the development of any country, Nigeria's first national science and technology policy was produced in 1986. The aim of the policy, which was reviewed in 1997, was to use the knowledge of science and technology to ensure better quality of life for the Nigerian people.
Everything you can think of, even in territorial domination, any country or any region that have a higher technology. In fact, military power is not assessed by the number of soldiers or men you have, but what technology do you have. That has been the means that help in winning all wars, including world wars. The new technology has always been the issues.
How much has Nigeria's science and technology policy encouraged innovation in modern Nigeria? Though the government says it is investing in innovation and technology, Nigerians say the impact is yet to be felt.
What is challenging has been implementation. The National Science and Technology Policy has been updated and updated with time. It's adequate. But what has limited the impact is, over the years, is full implementation. Let me tell you, even the council itself that is supposed to sit on matters of science and technology has not been able to sit until 2016.
Technology is the application of knowledge for practical purposes. Some Asian countries, particularly China and South Korea, are aggressively investing in research and technology development. Research shows that China, which is producing millions of graduates in the field of science and technology annually, is the largest investor in innovation, technology, and research after the United States. Also, economies like that of China and Russia are already reaping the benefits of technology and innovation, which is playing a central role in transforming their countries for the better. However, some basic factors continue to derail the development and implementation of technological innovations in Nigeria.
The Federal Ministry of Science and Technology has a platform through which young innovators could be assisted with grants to move their innovation to the next level. We call it Presidential Standing Committee on Invention and Innovation. Every year, the ministry provides some kind of grants to Nigerian innovators, inventors who have applied. And the intention of that grant is to help them move what they have invented to the next level. When it reaches a certain level now, then that is now when we bring the private sector to see how they can now partner with the innovators.
The long-standing commitment to the development of young minds in arts, science, and technology prompted the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, to initiate the NTA ETV Expo to showcase young innovative minds in these fields across the country.
The name of this device is called LDPE/PET recycling furnace. It means low density polyethylene and polyethylene terephthalate recycling furnace. I constructed it for the purpose of recycling and managing single-use plastics like our water cans, our pure water. So this machine is basically composed of three parts. This is the combustion chamber, the reactor, and the absorption column. In the combustion chamber, you put the charcoal. Then, when the charcoal is heated, it gives direct heat to the reactor. The reactor is where these plastic wastes are being recycled. So this, when you put the shredded plastic inside here, you now use the stirrer. This stirrer is used for uniform distribution of the plastic. When the plastic is being melted, it is then removed. It comes out from this outlet and enters this mode. So I constructed this absorption column to trap in toxic effluents from the plastic. So inside this absorption column is a filter capsule. This filter capsule helps to trap in those toxic waste so that it can give out pure air to the atmosphere. So this is one of my products. It's an interlock made from molten plastic, and I mix it with sand so that it can be strong. This plastic is a binder. As you can see, it's very light and very, very durable.
Every year since 2005, the NTA has organized the expo to showcase, identify, and applaud the laudable attempts of young Nigerians and their projects aimed at improving the living standard in the country.
We are trying to address the issue of available solar spraying machine in the country, because there are some faults and injuries available spraying machine or the pouring ones bring to our local farmers, because it injure chest injury to our local farmers, and it is not qualitative, and some are very cheap and the other one is very expensive. Most of our local farmers can't afford it. We try to make a system that is in between this two problem, to make a project that use a PVC photovoltaic energy to convert into DC energy, to work in a farm and spray pesticides or herbicide chemicals in a farm, and it works for 6 hours.
With the recognition of science and technology as the catalyst for Nigeria's development and economic diversification, the event is widely recognized as NTA's contribution to the development of science and technology in the country.
So, the machine is not only for rice, you can use for any grain. Here are different type of sieve. We have different type of sieve. This is how it works. Yes, electricity and manual. Look at it. Yes, that is how it works. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Participation in the NTA ETV Expo is drawn from the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT Abuja, and the children are allowed to compete in junior and senior categories of science, technology, and art fields.
Here is a sensor which gives alert when the light is red, indicating that cars should stop at this point. The sensor, when someone disobeys the traffic light, this sensor gives sound and alert to the law enforcement agency. And inside here is a camera which captures the car that disobeys the traffic light and sends it to the law enforcement agency.
As you can see, this is the charging port.
Mansour Sokoto from Sokoto State was one of hundreds of young innovators that have had the opportunity of participating in the NTA ETV Expo. His first appearance was in 2010 when he showcased an FM radio transmitter.
ETV exposed my experience, encouraged my mind to stand up on what I'm doing, especially in the area of invention and innovation of the technology. Because after that time, I was pausing my research, and still I'm talking to you. I have a shop in Sokoto where I am producing electrical and electronics projects, and now those my products are now being sold in the market. Though after I graduate from Polytechnic, I have not get a governmental job, but I now convert that technology that I have, that was given to me from the Almighty God, to become a self-reliance.
Mansour had opportunity to return to Abuja for the 2011 and 2012 Expo, each time with new inventions.
The main reason why I give more concentration of rechargeable based on rechargeable lamp is that because it is the most people need, especially in the rural areas. But in the local government of Sokoto State, especially in the eastern side of Sokoto State, eastern zone, they are most needed. But due to the challenges is the still poor spot. Because if you start doing technological activities, you will get discouraged.
Now, 11 years after his first appearance at the NTA TV Expo, Mansour Sokoto is still thriving and has improved on his innovations. Just like many young inventors like him in Nigeria, he is still trying to survive without encouragement and support from the government.
Since ATV, after that, I make a mobile phone charger that you can plug on your motorcycle. So that's one, even for it was very accepted in the especially rural areas, more especially where there is no electricity. So it's function also as well. And we also have a charger controller.
Mansour has since established himself in Sokoto, where he works with his interns to bring more of his innovative ideas to fruition. He believes with proper encouragement, him and other young innovators in Nigeria can train and employ more Nigerians who can, in turn, be paying it forward.
If we have the support from the especially government, NGOs, and our communities, I'm telling you, and gradually, we are going to reach the level that will help us to support exporting productions from the outside countries, especially in terms of electrical and electronics areas. See, in Nigeria, we are very back behind in terms of production. So, and look at our population. We are about how many millions now? We are about 200 millions, or almost 200 millions. How many people are graduation per year? So, and nobody, and the government have not space or chance to accommodate those our graduations. So, please and please, I'm appealing to the especially government to give the support in terms of technological activities. Only one project can help to provide jobs to thousands, hundreds of youths.
President and CEO Digital Bridge Institute, Professor Mohammed Ajia, believes the country is on a promising path. Despite the problems of infrastructure, Nigeria remains the home of Africa's largest internet users and mobile subscriptions.
For you to be innovative, you need to be supported, and you need to be where you are. You don't have to go to towns and cities. You can be innovative while you are at the places that are not cities and things like that. But you need the infrastructure. You needed the internet. You needed power. You needed all those things. You needed the devices that would help you. You also needed to research a bit. So all those things are problems. Until we are able to provide all the infrastructure, the government has come up with policy on broadband penetration. The NCC is leading. We have gone ahead, in the penetration. There's still more to be done. There's also power. We have challenges in the power industry.
In order to make progress in the field of technology and innovation in Nigeria, an agency of the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology was established for technology acquisition and promotion. NOTAP is strategic to the development of science, technology, and innovation in Nigeria.
Before any innovation is translated into product and services, because that is commercialization, you need to protect the intellectual asset of the innovation. How do we protect the intellectual asset? Is by patenting the technology. So NOTAP assists innovators and inventors to patent their intellectual assets free of charge. So any innovator or any inventor who now comes out with something that has potential to translate into product and services, he goes to our website, he can download the forms. Where he has difficulty in filling the forms, he come to the office, we have staff who would guide him. Write the claims, make the necessary search, We take it to the patent registry, we pay the patenting fee, we only call him to come and collect his patent certificate, because that is the certificate he would need to negotiate with private sector in realizing or in translating his products into, in his innovation into product and services. That is commercialization of research and development efforts.
Research shows that Nigeria is losing some of its most promising innovators to the West due to lack of local support. 22-year-old Ignatius Asabo, who builds drones using locally sourced materials, is a very good example. He was recently employed by a company in Finland following recognition of his potential and talent. As a student without government support for his innovations, he was selling self-made drone parts to support himself while also performing street drone flights on social media to earn money for his innovations. Most of these inventions caught the eye of a Finnish company which tracked him down and employed him.
Getting together funds that can be utilized, in taking idea from the table onto the market. This is, I think, where the problem is. And I believe there are a lot of interventions, including interventions from the Central Bank of Nigeria. I believe also there is also low, maybe awareness. And programs like this could help create the awareness, and people can access funds, after they brought in their ideas, after it has been tested.
Stakeholders say top on the list of problems facing the development of science and technology in Nigeria is the fact that majority of Nigerians do not like to patronize made in Nigeria goods.
Be proud to use Nigerian product. A common person can encourage Nigerian product, because if you encourage it, you end up getting a job. So if you get a job, job can go all over. So the idea basically is to patronize Nigerian product. When you do that, I'm 100% sure a lot of things will improve, especially in the science sector. Patronage is the key word that a common man can do. Acceptability that that thing is good is one thing a common man can do. And that, if that is done, all we are talking about is the science will be improved in the country.
This is actually not a problem of Nigeria alone. When some years back, you don't want to see product that is Taiwan or even Japanese. In fact, some people will even say this product is Tai2. In fact, you don't want to buy product from China or India. You want England or German product or US product. Every nation goes through this. So the approach of this government is that whatever we can demonstrate sufficient capacity to produce locally, then it will compel Nigerians to use local product. Elsewhere, you can import certain Android phone, like in India, or certain vehicles. They are on, although not up to that standard, you must be using it. And that is what China did to continuously improve.
Mansour says it is difficult for young inventors like him to thrive without the support and patronage